Are you trying to figure out the secret to happiness? Well, here at What Makes You Happy with Jake Pearson, we want to make that happiness more accessible for you in your life. So stick around as we interview everyday people, inspirational leaders, and your favorite celebrities on what makes them happy. Welcome back to the podcast where we ask the question, what makes you happy? My name is Jake Pearson, and today we have with us Ben Hampton, who is a writer, celiac disease advocate, and host of the Gluten Free Podcast. Ben, how are you?
Yeah, good man. How you going?
Doing really well, besides before this episode where I had to literally re-record after 8 seconds, so doing pretty well. Where are you coming from?
I am living on Gundungurra country in the Southern Highlands of New South Wales, Australia.
Beautiful, my neighbour down in Melbourne. So another Aussie on the podcast. Look, thank you for coming on the show. What makes you happy?
My family, first and foremost, my family. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got 2 amazing daughters, and music as well. Music is a massive passion of mine. I'm a drummer, so I've always played in bands and listened to music and gone to gigs, and I love and breathe music basically. And I was also diagnosed with celiac at the end of 2020. So since then, I've become a really keen advocate for the gluten-free community. And yeah, I love spreading awareness and doing everything I can to spread the word about it.
That's amazing that you're in a position where you can share your insights to help other people with celiac disease. That's pretty much your whole goal with the podcast, isn't it?
It is, yeah. When I was diagnosed, I just realized how much awareness is needed around the disease and the gluten-free diet. And by starting that up, it's really, it's been life-changing. I've been able to connect with people and hear their stories, and I've shared mine as well. And I feel like I'm part of a community with them. And yeah, it's been amazing. And I think becoming a father as well has sort of shifted my perspective of happiness. And it's made me realize, it's taken the focus of myself and, put that onto other people.
Yeah, that is very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And that's just your story. That's unique to you. So for the listener who maybe right now thinking, okay, well, this guy likes music and he's got a podcast and he's an advocate for celiac disease, but what can I take from this? What advice would you give to someone listening to the show right now who is struggling to find some happiness in their life?
Out of everything that I've kind of done in my life, I guess when I've put myself in positions of, being out of my comfort zone and sort of pushing myself that little bit further, I think that's when, looking back, that's when I have been the happiest, whether that's becoming a father. It's a struggle in itself, but it's been amazing. And just any goal that I've set for myself. And I think when I've pushed myself that little bit out of my comfort zone, it's made me really just try to become a better person. And I think that can only help other people as well. And that's just what makes me happy. So.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. That's a very hard thing for a lot of people to do, especially when they're struggling with their mental health and well-being. Any sort of tips around that? And, in terms of how big they should push themselves out of that comfort zone, or should they try for something a bit more accessible for themselves?
For sure. And I think, it's sort of easy for me as, a white male Australian to tell people, sort of how they can find happiness. But I think at the end of the day, people just have to find that for themselves and, sort of create happiness for themselves. And everybody's going to be individual in the way that they do that. But being open and honest and just really communicating how you're feeling and sort of looking out for yourself at the end of the day. If you can't look out for yourself and care for yourself, then you can't give care and, provide basically, love and care for others. And, if you just need to take some love and care for yourself, and that is what can really, make you happy and make others happy around you.
Ben, that was a beautiful piece of advice right there. If you would love to connect with Ben as we close out the show, you can connect with Ben through the podcast episode description below. Go check out his podcast and give his story a listen. Ben, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing what makes you happy.
Thanks for having me on, man. And I just want to say as well, I think it's an awesome podcast idea, and I think it's really going to benefit a lot of people. I know myself starting up a podcast, it's been really just life-changing, just hearing people's experiences, and I think you're going to learn so much yourself as well as, the people coming on this show. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. So well done.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ben. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We hope it gives you something to think about on your quest to discover what makes you happy. Don't forget to leave a review or a comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms so you can see our upcoming guest calendar. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.